What's up, you guys? So, I have been secretly, but not so secretly, being extra about the comment section and just paying attention and looking at certain comments that I receive and trying to look at it beyond the comment itself, as in what it means to me and what it does for me, and just on the grand scheme of things. And I decided that I should just go ahead and make a stream in which I just shared that because I feel like it's an interesting journey, and there's stuff that undeniably the comment section does for me. So I just wanted to put it all together in the stream and just share it with you guys and then see how you guys feel. Or if you want to add anything, just feel free. And I guess the first thing that immediately comes to mind when I think of the fantastic aspects of the comment section is I absolutely love it when people don't just agree with me, but they can actually enhance my own point of view. So, to put it simply, adding something to my thoughts that I independently wouldn't have because my mental capacity can only take me so far. So, it's like you can agree completely with me, but you can still help me grow. You can still contribute something that I'm like, you know what? Had it not been for your input, I would have never considered that. And I also have no shame in admitting that my points of view could use some construction, some improvement, and that's what some of your comments do for me. Another thing is that I never really imagined the rain of compliments that I would receive. And it's not really just based on my appearance, it's more about you get what I am trying to do as a viewer. You convey it through your comments. And I love that so much because I feel like this day and age, communication is something that has been on the decline lately at my workplace. Sometimes you say stuff and not everyone understands it the same way for some reason, no matter how much of a basic, clear, concise English it is. And sometimes it can be a little frustrating and discouraging. So when I make a move like that in the channel, like, oh, let me try this specific topic that may be a little difficult or something, you guys just dig it and you're not afraid to just point stuff out to me and put your point of view out there. And I love that so much because I am a person who's absolutely pro learning. And when I see that you guys get excited about it in the comments and you actually take the time to compose a nice, well thought out message, I just appreciate that so much because I know that somewhere in there, either a point that I agree with is going to be further acknowledged, but it may also just be improved in general. And to me, I just value that so much. Not because I need validation or anything. I live my life feeling pretty confident about what I do and who I am. But to not be so alone at it, it adds an extra level of just satisfaction and excitement to it. I really don't know how to put it into words, but also, of course, not to completely deny that or turn that down, but it's also nice to receive compliments in general. You know, the ones that something about my hair, something about my glasses, something about um, what I'm wearing or whatever. Yeah, that's also nice. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't enjoy those kinds of compliments, but I'm just saying that beyond those, I can also find grand satisfaction from the other kinds of compliments that I receive from you guys. Like when you guys say, I'm so glad that you brought up this topic because I feel like there's no one I can talk to about it. You know, to me, that just means a lot because I know what it's like to feel like you cannot have a conversation with someone. It is a horrible feeling. Also, when you guys just wonder about my well being, sometimes I have my sick days, sometimes you can just feel it in my voice or on my energy level that I'm just not doing so well. and you guys are like, oh, what's the matter? How can we help? Or what's going on? Or sometimes I don't even ask for help on something. I'm just venting, and you guys are already supplying solutions and just pretty much putting stuff on a on my hand for me, to just consume and get over the problem much sooner. I'm not used to having so many folks who are incredibly involved like that. And it's just mind blowing because you expect that only the people who are close to you are the only ones who can possibly care for you, care about you, and supply you with stuff. But no, there's so much goodness going out in the world, so much kindness, and I feel like we do not give each other enough credit for that. So I'm just here to tell you that in the comments, some of you guys have really helped me solve some personal struggles that I just cannot thank you enough. And maybe one day I'll throw that together in a video and let you know exactly what it is that I'm referencing. But just note that you are not, if I don't acknowledge your comment, it doesn't mean that you're not helping. So just know that. Um, Also, the ideas for the potential for new ideas. That's another thing that excites me a lot. It's like when I think that there's no more to do, nothing else to do when it comes to a specific topic, you guys may add an extra twist to it. And I'm like, you know what? How did I not consider that? I'll make sure to include that in a future stream or something. That's exciting because it forces me to challenge my mind into thinking a little further on a topic that I was limited in. And I find that exciting. It's like being in school all over again, and the teacher throws you that secret extra question that you were not prepared for, so you just have to, on the spot, get ready for it. Or they give you a little bit of time for you to put your thoughts together on it. That's exciting. It keeps the show going. And also, when I am not feeling the topics that I have thought about months in advance, it's cool when I sit here and I tell you guys, so you guys, today I saw something in the land of Twitter that I totally was not expecting to talk about, but it happened. So this is why this stream is happening. Stuff like that. Sometimes you guys in the comments say something that I'm like, I have to address that right now, immediately, so much. And it's just awesome because even if I don't know what to say on the topic, you guys just offered it, and I think that's just cool. Someone out there is going to know what to say, so I'm not afraid to cede the platform to someone else. Then, of course, the comments can be entertaining and fun. There are some folks who I'm sure are legit trolling, and I can enjoy some trolling here and there, but the only time that I don't is when I feel that it has the potential of turning into like flaming another user or something. That I just do not enjoy tolerating it. But if it's something that's stupid, normally people are trying to get attention, and usually they do so trying to make you laugh. Some of it is not really always my humor, and I'm like, seriously, you're going to bring that up in a situation like this? But then, because I have taken the time of getting to know some people and so many different personalities, some people's way of coping with certain stresses is by having this odd kind of a humor, and trolling can be humorous. So if I were having or running this channel maybe some 5 years ago, there was no way I could handle any of it. But when it comes to the present time, there is a certain element of art behind some of those comments, and even some of those comments have uh, supplied me with something that I'm like, hey, you know what? That's a good idea. This person is being a complete idiot about it, but I can do something with what they're saying. You see, it's like, do not limit yourself. Just learn to look at something just beyond the surface. It's like the iceberg. There's more beneath it. So just explore it a little bit. Um, Also, there's the stories that you guys share. Some of you guys have gone out of your way to share personal stories with me. And I'm like, oh, wow. I would have never guessed that about you, first of all. because I only know you as a user, there's only so much that you really have the opportunity to tell me, and there's some stuff that you just do not share on the internet. But when you do decide to just make that move and share something with me, every single person who has shared a personal anecdote with me has shaped me and influenced me in a way, whether I wanted to or not, or was anticipating it or not, because other people's personal experiences can be passed on to someone else. It's not the same as you in practicality going through it, but at least if a situation were to arise in my personal life that similarly resembles what someone else went through, that I read their story, it's like, oh yeah, I have heard about this before. This is what this person opted for doing. This is the result that they had, and it was a good one. Let's go for it. Or, on the contrary, this person committed the mistake of doing this and that. Let's avoid this and that and go for that and this. See, it's like, it feels like it feels like a village that's there taking care of each other. And you know that this day and age we're all so dispersed that I feel like we lose that connection. Those stories that are passed down from people to people just gets lost somehow because we end up wasting time on other things like entertainment and God knows what else. But not losing that connection is great. And I feel like when you guys share your personal stories, that's what it does for me. Given that I also do not really have my family with me, and not really a connection with them, it's like I have the potential of meeting new family members. Of course, it's never going to replace actual family, but it can bring satisfaction. That's all. Um, and then the feeling of being understood. And this is a particularly important one because I feel like every time I go online, every day, at some point, there's a story about someone who got offended over something that someone else said. And I'm like, why are you offended about that? And it usually turns out that it might be just a sensitivity matter. I don't even know how to phrase it, but oftentimes you're just trying to just say something for the sake of saying it, or other times you're just looking for a connection. But people just don't get it. Some people are just um I don't want to be mean about it, but I feel like some people are just brain dead. Like you cannot say something without it being taken out of context or taken the wrong way, or someone just being offended when you were just saying the truth. And I guess the most obvious thing to point out is like the social justice stuff. I'm like, how truly offensive was this matter that you're describing that triggered you so much? Are you sure that you're not reaching? Why is it suddenly a bad thing to just speak up about some things? And why are you discouraging a group of people from expressing themselves just because of what their culture is, what their appearance is, what their political views are? What happened to the days when you could have a disagreement, debate, and it would not turn into a personal attack? So nothing feels better than to just be able to come in here, say something, and I feel understood. Even when you guys disagree, you still understand where I'm coming from, and then you tell me why you disagree. You're not trying to just flame me for the sake of flaming me, like just attacking me or something. No, you're like, you know, your point of view is valid, but here's why mine is also valid. And I love that. And I feel like that is one of the easiest things to do when it comes to socializing. But this day and age is just so not there anymore. At least I don't see it as much, or experience it as much. But definitely in the channel, I do. And I just love that. There's also the aspect that I'm a person who just loves to be doing something. I like to be busy. I don't like to just be alone with my thoughts, not being productive in a way. having the channel keeps me busy because I have to think about what I'm saying. I have to think of a topic. I have to meditate on it. And then as you guys send your thoughts via the comments, I'm like, oh yeah, I have to be prepared for the fact that someone may take the direction of the topic in a whole different way that I'm not ready for, that I'm not anticipating. And that is so awesome because it also um, I look at it as a challenge. It lets me see how good of a speaker I can be, or how good I can just run a show when unexpected stuff gets thrown at me. It's like when you're driving and you're not anticipating to see an obstacle on the road, but you do, how do you dodge it? So, same thing with these topics. When you guys send something that I may not be entirely, I don't want to say uncomfortable because nothing really makes me that uncomfortable, but when I'm not expecting something challenging, it's like, okay, how do I address this? How do I tackle this? I don't just run from it. It's like, no, you bring up something that's interesting, it's challenging for me, and I go ahead and admit it. I'm like, what you said is interesting. I am not very well informed to have an opinion to a certain extent, but I don't run from it. Or at least the worst I can do is, you know what? I'm not ready for that right now, but I'll prepare on it and come back to you. So I like that. Also, the this is going to maybe sound strange, but one of you guys said it the other day. Um, I think it was Wolfos who said this, but there's also the companionship aspect. Of course, it doesn't replace face to face interactions, like actual presences and spending time with people. But at least you guys, I see you as people who are just really far away from me. It's like, I don't know, pretend that we went to the same school together and we had the same class, but we just don't remember each other that well. And we just so happen to catch up again via social networks or something. I know that sounds strange, but yeah, it's cool to know that you're not really that alone. Like I spend most of my time alone when I'm not at work, and the only way that it bothers me is when I'm not entirely happy in my personal life. And then just knowing that I can just open up a stream and someone will show up and just be there with me. Something about that is very healing, very relieving. And I could just not thank you guys enough for that because you guys keep showing up. You guys are here. No matter what you're doing or what time of the day I may randomly start a stream, someone shows up. And that just means the world to me because there was a point in my life when I had nobody who I could feel was there for me. Then there's also the fact that when I would have my struggles, it would be really late at night, and everyone else who is normal, they're sleeping at that time. So I have to cope with my stuff by myself. But then having more of a broader reach allows for someone to just be present for me, especially the guys who live in a different time zone. It's like I can count at this point that someone somewhere will be awake and come to my aid. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm just needy all the time, but I have to acknowledge it. The world is just big and scary, and it's awesome when I don't have to just go through it completely alone. So again, not to devalue what you guys do or your presence, it does not replace actual like interacting, having you present, but at least you are doing something for me. And I appreciate that. It's just a great feeling, and I do not take that for granted because it's something that I used to not have. And it's pretty life changing because let me tell you, I had some terrible, terrible, terrible days in my life when I had to be all by myself and it completely stank. And I'm just so grateful that I don't have to go through it again. And if I do, it's like I catch myself and I tell myself, why am I doing this to myself when I don't have to go through it by myself like I used to? See what I mean? So yeah, you guys, I had created a little list. So if you see me looking at a random side. That's what I was doing. I was just reading off a little notepad, and it seems like I reached the bottom of it. So I am going to now catch up with what you guys were saying. Haribat says, hi, hello there. I have an idea for a video. I think it would be great if you make it for us. You let me know. Hi, Zamri. How are you doing? Happy Saturday, everybody. God bless. Hello, Jordan. Good to see you, as always. Most people don't want to be themselves. I guess it's easy to not want to be yourself when you had been yourself. Good stuff didn't happen. It's like you ever feel attacked for just being different or something, but not always. Because for me, being different has actually given me an edge on some situations. So it's like, oh, you think that way? No one has ever talked to me like that. No one has ever brought that up. So, you know, and I'm like, this is not daring. I don't feel like a hero or anything, or heroine or something, but whatever. Yes, talking to you about anything makes so much fun. Hello, Viking. They are only bad news on TV. To make more money, putting a little bit of good news on TV is so wrong. That's the great thing with interacting with people that actually put thought into the comments. It stimulates further conversation and is very enjoyable. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but it can also influence the way a person behaves. Like when we have our political topics, what if by something that someone had a wrong, well, excuse me, I don't want to say wrong, but that they had a perception that they had not had challenged, you may change that person's mind and it may be for the better of society. So when it comes to politics, I don't want to say that there's a right or wrong, because really some stuff, it's kind of undebatable. Both sides will be right, and that challenge is, how do you implement something that makes both sides happy? But politics also has its tricky aspect, which is it's not entirely clean. There's the corruption aspect of it, and so anyways, it's, yeah, good point, Viking. Nothing better than furthering a conversation, and it's also great to see a person get all bubbly and excited about it and be like, yeah, we're talking about this and I've never had the chance. It feels great. So, can you please make a topic about people keep looking at the person all day, like walking into the store and that person keeps looking at me? Oh no. Huh. I guess, another way that I can treat that, Jordan, is I think they call it profiling, which is, for some reason, you go somewhere and someone just keeps staring at you. They give you the wrong type of attention, and it's usually due to preconceived notions. But yeah, I know what you're saying. That happens to me a lot, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I do wonder why some people just stare. Like, I'm sorry, is there a bug on my face that you're not, uh, you know, very brave to tell me about for some reason? Or just, what is it? Why are you looking at me? So, okay, people keep on looking at the person all day, like walking to the store, and person keep looking at me. All right, so yeah, I guess I can do that. I'll I'll see what I can do with your topic, Jordan. So I just write it down. People looking at you, and I guess you can keep me or something further details about it, just to make sure that I take the topic in the right direction. But yeah, interesting. I don't like people throwing attention to be seen, like people showing off their 10 credits, talking to the cashier like 15 minutes in the line. Oh no. Oh yeah, like, yeah, some people, that is actually a pending topic that I have, but it's a little different. It's kind of crazy to me that there's people who just go somewhere public, like a grocery store, and you go there to talk to the person in customer service. And sometimes you deliberately try to give them a hard time. Usually, those people are the lone crowd. You're by yourself, really early in the morning or really late at night. Like, what are you doing with your life? I mean, it's like you come to us and you just want someone to talk to, but at the same time, when you finally have the opportunity to talk to someone, you blow it because you're the rudest person. We're ready to be done with you because someone else needs our help, and the stuff that you're bringing up is just not appropriate for the setting that we're at. You know, we're in public, and it's just crazy that people also tell you that stuff because they know they can get away with it because you're in a position where you cannot really defend yourself. And I'm like, if that brings you satisfaction, then I mean, I guess that's on you. But it's strange that you go to someone who's a stranger who maybe you see on the regular because you need to eat. So you go to the grocery store and that's what you do. You see these people, you think that you know them, and then somehow one day randomly you decide that you're confident enough to just have a long conversation with a stranger. And just no, to me that's just weird. When I go to the grocery store, I just want what I'm looking for and be on my way. You know, I don't need all the extra like attention, greeting, customer service, hands-on stuff like acknowledge my presence and junk. No, the only time I want you to acknowledge me is if I have a question for you. But for you to go out of your way to babysit me, like no, no. To me, that's weird. If any of that does not make sense, don't worry about it. It'll be a topic one of these days. Let's see. Where did I? Zoe, thank you for doing different on your videos. It's better than TV. You know what? I have not watched TV in such a long time, so I could not even begin to compare and contrast what it is to to be doing this. You know, running a show my own on my own, if I put it that way. But yeah, I appreciate them. Most people hate hearing the truth. It's in the Bible. The truth hurts and the truth sets you free. Back in the 90s, like Tupac say anything, he went NWA in the 70s to music. Yesterday's world, nobody can say anything. I know what makes you uncomfortable asking you where you are from. I mean, like I said, I answer that question so wearily often, and for some reason, people don't want to believe that I'm American. And they just really, really want the specifics. And if I say that, it's like, oh, where's your family from? Like, I'm not keeping anything from you. It's simple as that. And if I sound different, maybe it was because I was raised by people who are different and sounded different. But that doesn't change my history. So, anyways, come on, just let me know what country you're from. You have a nice accent, lol. The United States. What do you want me to say? Something exotic? Or, you know, do you guys feel that way? That if you meet someone who's different and then in a conversation they happen to tell you that they're from another country or something, do you automatically perceive that person as more interesting or more exotic for some reason? Because it's like for me, I'm starting to know British people. And to me, their English is far superior to ours. And I let them know that. I'm like, you probably don't find yourself as an exotic creature, but I love listening to you because your accent just sounds so cool, so awesome. And you automatically win points. And then there's also the Australian accent. I find that one to be cool. It's like an altered version of the British one. And then I also said that to a friend of mine who's Australian, and I was talking to him about Hugh Jackman, and I'm like, Hugh Jackman sounds so cool in his original accent. And then he goes, well, you know, as much as I love Hugh Jackman with every fiber of my being, it doesn't mean that I find him all that different or interesting because he sounds just like all of us around here. So, sweetie, he is not that exotic. And then I said, you know what? That makes so much sense. So much sense. So, yeah. For me personally, when someone tells me that they're from somewhere different, I really do not see someone with a thick accent and I wonder, you know, where you're from or something. I never care. But if someone happens to tell me they're from somewhere that I have been interested in, like for some reason, I like Norway. And it's because I have seen certain pictures of it, and you guys know that I'm into the environmental sciences, geology, and all that. So they have certain landscapes that I'm like, I want to see that. I want to experience that. So honestly, I would go to Norway for the sake of being out in nature, but I am too much of a chicken to go somewhere foreign because the idea of being somewhere where I cannot find my way back just by reading stuff or communicating with people, that terrifies me. I cannot go somewhere where English is not spoken. I will be stressed. I would need a guide with me. So, but yeah, you guys, let me know what you think about that one. And if it gets crazy, I may do a stream on that. Feelings of people who are foreign or something. Because I think it's interesting. And I'm sure someone out there thinks the same or different. If you saw Blazing in Saddles before 1975 movie, or It's About Racism, it's a comedy movie. If that movie comes on in theaters nowadays, they would try to blackball that movie. I cannot say I have heard of it, let alone seen it, but it's piqued my interest. Zamri, I'm always here for you. You're so cool and outstanding person. I appreciate that. Yep, I'm from tomorrow. Yes, that too. There's like, what is it? A 16-hour difference? Yeah, to me that's crazy. I can barely handle 2 hours of a difference. Like when I tried moving to Kansas, I think it was a 2 hour difference. Oh my God, it felt like days would not end. Your videos are better than. That's a huge compliment because all people talk about is the show on Netflix, whatever show it is. God always will be blessings and read. Love will never end. Jesus got your back. Good to see you too. I love being different. Makes me feel so good. I love making friends. Here's how I buy of shopping. Oh my God. I guess I should holiday season comes around, just talk about how real the struggle is. TV sucks. People from other countries, not so much that I find them exotic, but I'm often interested in finding about their culture and what it was like to live there. You know what? Same thing here. Sometimes, especially with the political situation of certain countries, I always want to ask about that, but I don't want to be getting too close to people's personal business like that, you know? But sometimes I wonder what other countries do that works so well for them that we don't do in America. And then I'm like, wow, it would make such a big difference if we had something that that country has that we don't have. For instance, free healthcare. You know, why can we not do that? Especially if we're a country that moves so much money around, you know? But when it comes to economics, I am brain dead on that topic, so I'm going to be limited in what I say about it before I land myself in hot waters of ignorance. But yeah, I do tend to think that people from other countries are somewhat mysterious, but in your case, I'm just really curious. I love accents. May I ask where your family is from? Well, there are folks from Italy, France, and Spain. Like, yeah, my paternal grandfather was a Spaniard. Unfortunately, I did not meet him, but yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. You would get a buzz visiting here then. The valleys here are glacially created and we have glacial moraines dotted around the area and some great mountain scenery. You know what? I have always been curious about going out all the way out there. Um, but I guess the stuff that terrifies me is the stuff that everywhere in the planet is present, which is the wildlife. Like for some reason, I hear that over there stuff is just way more threatening and dangerous, and I'm like, no, that's everywhere. Here, at any time, I could get bit by a black widow. Am I losing sleep over that? No. So, so yeah, I'll consider it. I shall put it on my bucket list. Well, it's actually already in my list because I gotta visit this friend that I'm talking about. So yeah, it'll happen. If you answer this question, please direct me to the video. I tend to discuss this the famous where I'm from broken down, but it's kind of not really in a separate video. It was more of an incidental thing in a